first time I was introduced to broadcast journalism was in 7th grade when I co-anchored my internal morning news broadcast at my middle school in Florida.
Good morning and welcome to the 2004 edition of Parrot News Network. I'm Justin Chenet.
Co-anchoring PNN, the Parrot News Network, opened my eyes to an exciting new passion ready to spread its wings and soar. At the time, I didn't really know that you could do that as a job, as a profession. You know, being a 7th grader, I didn't really think about that. But I loved doing it. I loved to report on what's going on campus, and being on TV and seeing, you know, different people and really trying to help out the school and informing people. I guess that's really what it came down to, was informing people about what's going on in the world around them. So that's when I first got introduced to it, but I didn't really think anything more of it until 9th grade. I signed up for the summer television productions class prior to entering my freshman year, and I kind of did it just to test the waters. It was only about a 5-week course, and I wanted to see if I could handle it, coming from Florida doing the video productions class in 7th grade. So I signed up for the class, and I came in, and I got my first glimpse of TA TV Channel 3. And as time progressed through the program, I felt like I was more and more comfortable behind the camera in particular. At the end of the 5-week course, Mr. Lund, the advisor and the teacher of the course, sat me down and said, "Justin, do you consider yourself more mature than your fellow peers?" And I remember saying, "I think so." And he said, "Well, would you be interested in taking on the opportunity of being the first freshman ever to be in the advanced television productions class?" And I was ecstatic. I couldn't believe it, really. It was kind of like an aha moment. And I said, I was like, definitely. And I remember skipping down the street. I was so happy to be given that opportunity. So I came into the advanced TV productions class really scared. I went in with the mindset, you know, I'm a freshman, these are upperclassmen, you know, they're going to have a lot more experience than me doing these same things, you know, television production, taping shows, and I wanted to take on this mission. The mission of, it doesn't matter how old you are, it's your skills that set you apart. So I figured as long as I put my 110% effort, I really don't care if they're upperclassmen, I'm going to do my best. And I slowly but surely took on more leadership-oriented roles. I remember the first time we did a major project, it was for a video for the Saco Museum. And the group was trying to decide who was going to be one of the producers. And of course I wouldn't say I wanted to be a producer because that's a leadership role. And at the time it was kind of reserved and held back. And I remember Mr. Lund saying, "I think Justin should be the associate producer." And at first I was like, "Oh no, Mr. Lund, don't do that. don't make me the associate producer." But I was the associate producer, and it was great because it wasn't the fact that I got to boss around upperclassmen, but it was the fact that it really kind of pushed me off the dock and hope you can swim. Of course, Mr. Lund was right there with a life preserver in case I was drowning, but it was great. It provided the first glimpse into a leadership type role for me. It got me out of my comfort zone, which is always critically important in moving forward, in growing as a young adult. At the end of my freshman year, I decided to enter a contest. It was the New England School of Communications Video Festival for 2006. And the competition was to create a video, a documentary, about the importance of teamwork. At the time, I was contracted with MMCPHO, which is an organization in the Maine Medical Center, to do a series of videos for them. So I decided, well, at the same time I'm doing this video, why don't I get some footage about teamwork in an office in a medical type field? So I was able to not only do this video for the Maine Medical Center, but also use some of the footage in the teamwork video. So I submitted it. I didn't expect to get anything. As a freshman, I didn't, you know, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Obviously, there are going to be other people out there who are more experienced than me. And it came back, and NESCOM announced that I won 3rd place in the individual documentary contest, and I was thrilled. You know, yeah, it was only 3rd place, but for me, it was a big deal because as a freshman, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and this seemed to be the only thing that was going well for me. It was really the first time I got awarded for my efforts in television video production in my lifetime. So it was a great milestone, but it was the first of many to come. That summer, the summer of 2006, between my freshman and sophomore year, I interned with Community Television Network Channel 4 in Portland, which is a public access station and broadcasts to about 500,000 people. I was so nervous going in there. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing half the time. You know, how am I supposed to be able to intern at a television station? But somehow I got the nerves up. It was a great opportunity as a freshman to have an internship at a television station. Even if it was a public access, it was still a big deal for me.
Justin Chenette, a student at Thornton Academy, interned at CTN this summer and prepared this video essay on the fee being proposed at Fort Williams Park.
A lot of editing of segments for different shows, did a lot of public relations, answering telephones, did some camera work and some audio work, so I did a little bit of everything. That fall, I was the executive producer of TA-TV Channel 3. So I went in with the mindset that we are going to have a variety of programming, we're going to increase the number of shows and increase the number of episodes that we tape. Really increasing the quality, because I considered myself as the quality control officer, as I call it, for the executive producer role, and I really try to make it my own. One of the things that I felt necessary in order to achieve that goal of higher quality program was to create my own show. I was playing around with the idea. The previous year, the end of my freshman year, I did an on-camera editorial, which I'll never forget. The editorial was about the nuclear weapons crisis for Iran in North Korea that I actually wrote for a history class. And when I turned it in for homework in the advanced television productions class, Mr. Lund said, I remember him coming to me and saying, Justin, I think you should read this on the air. Because at that time I wasn't really in the extracurricular activity. I didn't really do a lot of on-air stuff. So I said, I'll try it. And I remember going into the editorial thinking, oh my God, I have to be on TV. That is going to be scary stuff. I got in front of the camera. I was a little nervous at first, but once that camera turned on, I was all ready. It felt like all was right with the world. Not because I got to be on TV, but because I was doing something that I loved. It really clicked for me that I needed to do more with it. So going into the fall, I decided to create my own political talk show. I was always interested in politics. I helped my stepfather run for school board down in Florida, so I was introduced at an early age to the political arena. So I decided to do a talk show surrounding politics. I was playing around with the name. It was originally entitled TA Debates, and I'm glad I changed it. I don't really like that title. But I ended up with The Issue, and I decided to focus the show on one particular controversial political topic of the day.
The Issue is an excellent example of the laboratory that students have available to them as learners in an education teaching kind of institution. And I think that is the great thing about TA-TV. When a student gets this little seed of an idea of a show that they would like to explore, that is a possibility. They can do up a show proposal. And in this case, it was great that we had a student who had a love of politics, love of news, and could engage it in a very thoughtful, meaningful way. The headmaster had sort of some questions in the beginning, but as with any of these experiments, you got to float some trial balloons and hope that some of them will look good.
The first episode was surrounding illegal immigration. There was a big debate in 2006 surrounding that issue, so I decided let's do the first episode on that. And I've always felt strongly about illegal immigration. The first episode was okay. I won't call it necessarily a disaster, but it was definitely the first time I've ever done something like that. And you can see that things have changed since then. It was very unorganized, kind of unscripted. And as a result, the response in the community was overwhelmingly negative.